All right, let's talk about an IPO that, on the surface, has everything going for it. We're talking a super hot industry, a founder who is basically a legend, and some eye-popping growth. But, when something looks too good to be true, you gotta dig deeper. So today, we're doing a full deep dive on CiDi Inc. And this really gets to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the founder, Li Zexiang, the man they call the godfather of DJI. That's some serious street cred. But on the other side, the company's own paperwork shows some really troubling signs. So, which is it? Is this the next DJI in the making? Or is this a company that's just bleeding cash and desperate for an IPO to stay afloat? Let's find out. Okay, so before we get into all the financial drama, let's just take a step back and figure out what CiDi actually does. What's the business? It's B2B tech, sure, but the basic idea is actually pretty cool and easy to grasp. I love this analogy because it's just perfect. The best way to think about CiDi is as a high-tech driving school for monster trucks. They're not in the business of building the trucks themselves. Nope. What they do is sell the really smart stuff. The artificial intelligence brain and the advanced sensor eyes that lets these massive vehicles drive themselves around dangerous places like mines and container ports. And this chart right here shows you just how focused they've become. Man, have they made a massive pivot. Just look at that. Over 92% of their revenue now comes from autonomous mining trucks. And their other big idea, this V2X or smart roads business, it used to be almost a quarter of their sales. Now, it's basically collapsed to just 2%. This is not a diversified company, folks. This is a company that's betting the entire farm on mining. So that huge bet on mining naturally leads us to the numbers. The sales pitch sounds great, but the real story, the health of the company, that's all written in the financial statements. So now we're going to peel back the curtain, look past the hype, and see what's really going on with the money. And this is the story they want you to see. It's the slide they'll show in every investor meeting. Look at that beautiful upward curve. Revenue nearly doubled in the first half of 2025 compared to last year. It looks absolutely fantastic, right? This is the growth story they're selling. But, well, it's only half the picture. Now, here's the reality. This is the chart they'd probably rather you didn't see. While their sales were going to the moon, their operating cash flow completely fell off a cliff. They burned through 5 times more cash this year than last year. So think about that. They're selling more stuff than ever, but they're losing cash faster than ever. That's a huge problem. So you're probably asking the same thing I was. If sales are so high, where on earth is all the cash going? Well, the answer tells you everything you need to know about a fundamental weakness in this company. It went right here. 418 million RMB. That is the insane amount of money that's just sitting there. It's tied up in what we call accounts receivable. Basically, it's a giant pile of IOUs from their customers. They've made the sales, they've booked the revenue, but the cash just isn't in the bank. And here's why that pile of IOUs is so big. On average, CiDi has to wait 122 days to get paid. That's 4 months. Can you imagine doing your job and then waiting 4 months for your paycheck? It shows they have very little power over their customers and have to offer these really risky, generous payment terms just to get a deal done. This quote just nails it. It's a textbook case of kneeling to make money. To get these big, powerful mining companies to sign on the dotted line, they have to bend over backward and take on risks that a stronger company would just walk away from. And believe it or not, it gets much worse than just waiting a long time to get paid. And here it is. This is the single biggest, brightest red flag in their entire 200-page prospectus. Hiding in the details is the fact that one of their major clients, a company they just call Customer K, has stopped paying them altogether. They've defaulted. And the financial hit is huge. We're talking almost 99 million RMB that CiDi is on the hook for. And this isn't just about a missed payment for a few trucks. Oh no, this is a whole tangled web of loans and financial guarantees that shows just how far they were willing to go to land this one customer. So how in the world did this happen? It's actually kind of shocking. Okay, step 1. They sell over 150 million worth of products. Great. But then, to make the deal happen, CiDi starts acting like a bank. They guarantee a 70 million loan for their customer. And if that wasn't crazy enough, they then gave the customer a direct loan on top of that. So of course, when customer K went bust, who was left holding the bag? CiDi. This isn't what a tech company should be doing. This is what a high-risk lender does. Okay, wow, let's take a breath. We've seen some pretty alarming stuff, right? But to be a good investor, you have to be fair. Every deal has two sides. So let's step back and put it all on the scales, the good versus the bad. So here's the final breakdown. The argument for investing is pretty simple. You're betting on a genius founder with an incredible track record. They're one of the first companies in this specific market, and their technology obviously works. But the case against them? Well, it feels overwhelming. They are burning through cash, they're at the mercy of just a few big customers, their sales tactics are downright dangerous, and to top it all off, their profit margins are actually getting smaller. And on top of all those fundamental problems, we have to talk about the price. CiDi is coming to the market asking for a valuation of about 11.5 billion Hong Kong dollars. That puts their price to sales ratio at around 23. Now look at their closest competitor, Borton. They trade at a multiple of 13. So CiDi is asking you to pay a huge premium for a company with some very, very deep flaws. So after laying it all out, the star founder, the disastrous cash flow, that whole customer K-mess, and the sky-high valuation, it's time for the final verdict. What's the move? Here's exactly how I'm playing this IPO. For me, the decision is actually pretty easy. I am skipping this IPO. It's a hard pass. The number one reason is just the catastrophic state of their financial health. That negative cash flow is a deal breaker. And the secondary reason is that the whole customer K situation is just a massive red flag about how this company is run. My strategy here is simple. Keep my powder dry. I'm saving my capital for better opportunities coming down the pipe. And really, this is the question I want to leave you with, because it's the most important one. When you put your money into an IPO like this, are you really investing in the future of a great business? Or are you just providing the emergency cash they need to bail themselves out of past mistakes? For me, the answer here is crystal clear.